It's like yesterday. And that's for all the guys. Like, you know, you get together and it is like yesterday, and it's not a sort of bragging thing. It's just it's a great sense of achievement. It's something which we did for the first time ever for Australian rugby. It was a turning point for rugby in Australia. It was a turning point, I think, that World Cup for rugby in general.
Certainly that semi-final of the World Cup would be in the grand final of disappointments. I actually don't think, all things being equal, we're as good a team as the All Blacks. Had we got to the final, you know, we would have needed a bit of luck, but felt we should have got to the final. In that particular game, we lost a couple of people to injury pretty early. We had problems in certain areas, but besides all that, we were still well and truly in the game, and there was one crucial line out just before half time where we turned the ball over and the French scored, and that gave them a lift, and I felt if that had not have happened, the French would have gone away. We would have run over them in the second half.
We're all disappointed. The thing you've got to remember is that everyone had an extremely high expectation of performance, you know, and not just Alan Jones, but Tom Lawton, Andrew Slack, Roger Gould, all of those guys, Noddy Liner. We all had to perform to the best of our abilities.
We were ahead, we had the game to win, and we lost it, and you know, it really was a shattering moment. I knew that was sort of basically the end of my career. First World Cup, first chance for the Wallabies to be the inaugural ones. You know, it all hits you like a tidal wave, really, when the full-time whistle goes, when you've been so close.
I believe that we did the best that we could on the day, but it just wasn't good enough against teams that wanted it more at the end of the day. And I think when you look at all the World Cups or games subsequent to that sense, it's one of those occasions where guys hang in there and they win. You know, they just go in harder and they win those games. We were bitterly disappointed, but you know, you live to fight another day, and away you go.
87 was like the pilot study. 91 was a real thing. And 91 was just sitting back and watching all the sort of pool games going on around France and Ireland and England and Scotland and Wales. It was just a fantastic feeling to sort of see the whole world focusing on this game of rugby, which, you know, was our game.
Post the semi-final against New Zealand, went to Surrey and stayed the week prior to the game, and I think they installed initially one fax machine because there was faxes of support coming, and I think they finished up installing about 5 or 6 in our team room. And just day and night, there was just an enormous amount of faxes coming in of support. So I think for us, it was the realisation that this whole of Australia was getting behind us.
The physical nature of the game, the defensive nature, you know, there was 18 minutes before kick-off when you had to introduce the Queen to the team, and it was just a very high-pressured moment. I was exhausted when I went up to get the trophy. I think that's why, you know, I sort of uttered those words, wow. And I was thinking back to what was arguably as a young kid, the most important sporting event that I used to wake up and watch, which was the FA Cup final, when the captain used to go up and get the trophy. And I remember thinking as I went up the stairs, why aren't they putting scarves around my neck? You know, for some reason, you know, as the captain used to go up in the soccer. So it was memorable. It was great to take it down into the Twickenham changing rooms. It was great to have that celebration, to fill it up with our sponsors, product Forex, and enjoy that. That was terrific.
Sure, I think we had the excitement the week before of beating New Zealand, and the week later for the World Cup final was definitely relief. And also Nick Farr-Jones introducing the Prime Minister of England in our dressing room, not wearing any clothes, was probably the other memory I have post-game, and it wasn't a good look on anyone's behalf.
Just being a part of the Wallabies gives you great satisfaction. You know, a team that I really looked up to from when I was young, and being able to experience that, my life would be so different today. I'm not saying it'd be no good, but it would be so different if I wasn't a part of the rugby family. And the rugby family goes so far beyond what you can ever imagine. And it's a family that spreads its roots out to club rugby at international level and everywhere in between. School rugby, of course, and it's global. And the influence that has had on my life, my family's life, a lot of my friends' life, because of the journey that they've been on because of it, even just watching it and having an interest in the game, has been wonderful. And I think you can never underestimate that.
You know, it's a campaign that you go through for 7 games, and not so much the pool matches are you tick the box there just about, but you're knowing that if you hit quarter final, you must win. We had a tough encounter against Wales there, which we were fortunate enough to win. Then we go to semi-final and win that, and then World Cup, and obviously with a pretty dominant display as well. 2 tries to nil and penalty goals in the back and some conversions.
I was more relieved than anything. I was just glad that the whole bloody thing was over. I mean, there was such a big build-up throughout, not only throughout that whole year, but we started preparing the year before. Yeah, I was relieved that it was over, and I was happy to go home. And it doesn't happen very often. You know, it's hard to describe, but it's a great feeling. And you know, I've never probably had it since.
And at the back of that, that's when you can realise, you know, I mean, there's not many people can walk away. 1, you can say you play for your country, and 2, you can hold up a World Cup. So there was a handful of blokes there, and 30 odd blokes to say, you know, I'm a World Cup winner. And you know, as we said in the change room, a couple of guys were double World Cup winners from '91. So quite a special occasion to say, you know, I can walk home and say, you know, there's my medal and thanks for coming.